Hey, Ron Carruthers here. Today we're going to talk about your 401k and the government shutdown and what you absolutely have to know about this. All right. Now I'm recording this right before Trump goes live. The government may not be shut down when he's done. Who knows yet? But this is really important no matter what happens that you pay attention to. So if you're not familiar with me, my name is Ron Carruthers. We specialize in all areas of college, finance, and retirement. But here's what you absolutely have to know about this. When you contribute money to a 401k, you are deferring paying the tax. But I'm going to say something I want you to think about long and hard and let it go past your brain real slow. You are also deferring the calculation of the tax. You're deferring the payment and the calculation of the tax. Now, here's why that's relevant. The reason it's such a big deal is, in our country's history, taxes were raised at one point during World War II to fund the war effort to 94%. 94, that means the government kept 94 cents of every dollar that people made. At the same time, they started out early in the war whacking people that made more than $5 million a year. That's not inflation adjusted. That's $5 million a year that they were whacking people. Anybody who made above that paid 94 cents of every dollar. But when the government needed more money, they turned around and lowered the threshold from $5 million to $200,000. They literally moved the goalpost by $4.8 million as the definition of who was quote unquote rich. Now, here's the thing a lot of people say when I mention this to them. They're like, well, I'm not going to make that kind of money, and so it doesn't really matter to me. That's true, but check out what they did to the middle class and the poor at the same time. That didn't get them enough money, so what'd they do? Well, the start of the World War II, you started paying tax on any money you made above $4,000. So if you made more than $4,000, you started paying 4% tax. Guess what happened? It went to 10, it went to 19, and then it went to 23. At the same time, they cut the threshold from $4,000 down to $2,000. So the government not only soaked the rich, if you will, they turned around and hit the poor and the middle class as well. Now, why is that a big deal? Let me tell you why this sucks for your 401k. Because you're deferring the tax. By the way, this applies to your IRAs, your 403Bs if you're a teacher. This is an even bigger deal. If you're an educator, if you're a government employee, your 457As, city employee, all those sorts of things. You're deferring not only the tax, but the calculation of the tax. So what does that mean? Well, what it means is you're going to pay the tax at whatever rate they tell you to pay it, when they tell you to pay it, and you don't get a choice. So here's a rule of thumb that is backed absolutely 100% by math and science. So we're not screwing around on this. You need to pay attention. Never contribute to a 401k beyond the company match. I'll prove it to you in future videos with math and science. Always contribute up to the match if you're getting one, but never contribute beyond that. Now, what does the government shutdown have to do with that? Well, here's why. Would you guys not agree that the government's an absolute mess right now? I mean, doesn't matter. It's been this way for years, by the way. Just with social media, you're seeing more of it. If you guys know who Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is, she's come out that the rate should be raised to 70% taxes. And then somebody else just came out that's a 2020 Democrat candidate that says it should go to 90%. And I'm sure it's only a matter of time before somebody who's not very good at math is going to come out and be like, you know what, 90%, I'm going to go 110%, we're going to tax them. I'm telling you, it's coming. You watch. You're going to have to go back to this video. I promise you it's happening. But here's the problem. The government is 20 some odd trillion dollars in debt. And that's continuing. And taxes, the government just got a tax decrease for most Americans, not everybody, and it was it was a good plan. It wasn't a great plan. It was better for corporations than it was for your average person. But there were some good points in it. But at some point, just to deal with the debt we have, the government has to raise taxes. And where are they going to get that money from? Well, there are billions and billions and billions of dollars sitting in 401ks right now. It may even be trillions. I don't know the exact number of the 401ks and IRAs, but at some point, somebody's going to have to go take the tax, and where are they going to go get that money? They're going to get it from the 401ks, and that's why we tell you, contribute up to the max, never contribute beyond that, the match, not the max, the match, never contribute beyond that. And just pay attention to that. That is a hard and fast rule of thumb. And if you are an educator and you get no match on your 403b, absolutely do not contribute to these. We'll talk in future videos about what alternatives are, but your takeaway for today is at some point the government has to raise taxes, whether it's a Republican or a Democrat candidate that does it. They have to raise taxes to pay off this debt or to get it under control, and they're going to be going for you at the 401ks. And remember, you're delaying the tax and the calculation of the tax. So what that means is you have no say. And by the way, if you don't think the government's serious about this, let me give you a little example about how serious the government is about you paying tax and growing their retirement at the same time you're growing your retirement. And here's what it is. If you want to take money early from a 401k or an IRA, and you're allowed to do it, first of all, if you borrow the money, you turn around and you have 5 years to pay it back, and that works as long as you don't lose a job or get laid off, because then it's all due right then at the worst point in your life. And if you can't pay it back, you have to turn around and pay tax and interest and penalties on all of that. But if you take the money, just straight withdraw it, you turn around and they will tax you an extra 10% for a premature withdrawal. All right, so you pay all the tax plus 10%, or you can avoid it by something called 72T. We don't generally recommend it except for certain circumstances. But anyway, back to this. When you turn 70 and a half and you now have to work on your required minimum distributions, guess what happens there? If you forget to take that required minimum distribution, and let's focus on the key word, required minimum distribution. Why do they call it that? Because it's required. You have to take it. The government's like, look, Jack, you waited long enough for this money. We waited long enough for our tax. We need to get this from you. You're paying this right now to us. If you turn around and mess this up and forget to take it, guess what? They're going to tax you on your 401k distribution that you didn't take, or your IRA distribution. You pay all the tax plus a 50% penalty. So the rule of thumb here is always pay into your 401ks up to whatever match they give you. Don't pay beyond the match. You're deferring both the tax and the calculation of the tax, and you have to pay that tax at whatever rate they tell you, and that number is calculated into your Social Security, which can also be taxed up to 85% on top of it. So there's a lot going on here that you have to pay attention to. We're going to chat about in more videos. The president's about to start talking. I want to go hear what he has to say. I will tell you that the chickens are safe and well. If you guys want to see, they're hiding over here. There's the purse dog. Chickens are over here. Look at them all soaking up the sun, hanging out. Guys seemed to like the chickens last time. That's me. I'm out. We'll talk to you guys later. Take care.